Welcome back to another Sculpt Session Sunday. I'm Sash, and I'm here with the beautiful Mandizzle with the Shizzle.
Hey.
And we are coming back with another awesome freaking podcast. This one might ruffle some feathers, this one might hurt some people's feelings, but we're going to talk about why most people never see real progress in the gym and what actually works, what you can do right now to start fixing those things. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into it with the hard truth, and that is that most people think that they're doing enough, but in reality, they're not even close. And we're going
Mhm.
to cover grounds of nutrition, of training, of sleep, of stress, of everything that actually makes the real difference in the way that you're making progress. Because this idea of if I just do this, I should be seeing that, it's like, no, you can't be mad at the progress that you're not making for the work that you're not doing. And if you're not doing the work, you're not going to see the progress. So, my biggest thing is that if you're not seeing results, it's because there's something wrong with your input. It's because you're not doing something. Because if you were to be doing it, you would see the results. So we're going to jump headfirst into training intensity. And the biggest missing piece when it comes to training intensity is a lot of people move their body, they don't train their body. They don't go into the gym and they don't train. There's a difference between training and working out. There's a difference between actually being intentional with working out and just going through the motions, going through the flow of things. So, when you're working out, if you're not pushing sets, if you're not pushing weight, if you're not pushing to failure, and I'm not necessarily talking about you need to be doing the heaviest weight where you could only do one rep. You could be doing lightweight, but training with tempo work, with intention, mind muscle connection, all of that kind of stuff. If there's zero stimulus, there's zero growth. If we're not stimulating the muscles, if we're not pushing the muscles, we're not growing the muscles. And that leads me to the biggest point is that if you're using the same weights every single week, if we're not pushing the weights, we're not pushing the muscles to grow. We're not pushing ourselves to grow and we're not pushing ourselves to our full potential, not to mention a lot of people have this fear of being uncomfortable. So, Mans, I want to open up the floor for you and ask, when did you finally learn and when did you feel, or was there a turning point for you when you realized, oh shit, I'm not training with the intensity that I could be training with?
I think I've experienced that a few times in lifting for the last, oh, 11, 10, 11 years. Ugh. Yeah, a long time. I've definitely had different seasons. When I first started in the gym, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was doing body weight work and like very light dumbbells, maybe a 5 pound kettlebell if we were gonna get crazy there. And
Crazy.
yeah, I know. I was real crazy. And I think, like, yes, it helped to move more, but at that time, I also changed my diet, and I think that had a bigger impact on the physique changes I was seeing. And then when it came down to it, I was like, okay, like, well, now I'm just skinny, which, like, okay, cool. After being overweight my whole life, I'm like, yeah, this is great, but like, also, where's my glutes? Like, where's my butt?
There's the
all,
muscle.
all the gym girls, they've got this nice, like, juicy booty, and I am still looking like a cardio bunny, even though I wasn't doing like any cardio. Like, I was doing like maybe 10 minutes on the stairs. So, as I actually, the thing that changed for me was hiring a coach, like a good
Mm.
coach, when I started working with the second coach ever, but first good coach. That's when I learned, like, you need to push yourself. And I would see in his programming, like, hey, I want you to do hack squat. You're doing 4 sets. We're going to do 15, 12, 10, 8 reps per set, like on your set. Like we're going to drop that down each set. So you need to be adding more weight. And that's when I was like, excuse me? And that kind of taught me, that's the first time I unofficially like really learned about progressive overload and how to challenge myself. And when I felt my legs shaking, that's when I was like, oh.
Like, I'm
Oh,
actually
okay.
working now. I'm not just, but I'm
Yeah. And
actually
like,
doing something.
yeah. And I didn't die because I think that was a fear first starting out. Like, ooh, I'm not, am I strong enough? Like, can I do that and not get hurt? Yeah, but yeah, you fucking can. And
Yeah.
you're stronger than you think. And that was kind of eye-opening for me.
I love that. I love that. And I love what you said. And I want to touch on this real quick about how it happened to you multiple times when you realized that you could be training with more intensity. There is that initial shift where, like what you had when you hired the coach. And I feel like that's a really big shift that a lot of people have when they hire a coach and when they start working with someone because now someone's holding you accountable. Now you're logging your exercises. Now you're logging your workouts. And before I touch more on this topic, that ties into the how to fix it. It's you log your workouts, you log your exercises. You see, last week I did 50 pounds for 10 reps, and the week before I did 50 pounds for 10 reps. Do 60 pounds, do 55, do 52.5. Like go up. We're not saying go up 100 pounds in a week. Go up 2.5 pounds, go up 5 pounds,
Mhm.
do an extra rep, do an extra something to keep moving yourself forward. That's the progressive overload. That's the training harder. And what you mentioned about you would do 15, 12, 10, 8. When you have that rep range between 8 and 9, and that's where you're tapping out, that's when like that is the biggest push of your body. That's when your body is pushing the most and you know now next time, all right, cool, I did 8 reps with it. Let me try next week to do 10 reps. Once you could do the 10 reps with it,
Mhm.
you add more weight. Now that's what you do 8 reps with. And that's how we keep
Mhm.
progressing. And I love that you mentioned nutrition. We're going to jump into nutrition in a minute, but I want to also touch on the fact that I forgot what I was just going to touch on. But
That's okay.
anyways, actually fighting for your reps, actually fighting for your sets, actually putting in the work. And what here, yes, remembered what you mentioned about the fear of can I do this without getting hurt? Can I hit this weight? Can I hit this rep without getting hurt? There's safety bars for a reason. If you're on the Smith machine, set them a little
Mhm.
bit higher. So if you do fail, it doesn't drop down, it hits the safety bars. If you're doing a hack squat, you know that even if you go to the lowest, you're not going to crack your knees because it's at a point where you can get out of it. Like there's
Mhm.
machines that have safety mechanisms on there. So even if you do fail, you fail. Like that's it. You get
Mhm.
back up, you take off the weight, and you do it again, but now at a lighter weight. So the fear of being uncomfortable is a fear that holds so many people back in their training because you are supposed to be uncomfortable when you're training. You're supposed to walk out with your heart rate elevated, with breaking a little bit of a sweat, with maybe panting a little bit because it was a hard set. Like it's not supposed to be easy. It's not working out is not supposed to be sunshines and flowers. You're supposed to be challenged. You're supposed to push and it's supposed to be hard. So I feel like I'm gonna think of a couple more nuggets as we scroll past, but is there anything that you want to touch on about the training before we jump into the nutrition mistakes that keep people stuck?
Yeah, this so for my clients that are like local to me, I will occasionally work out with them in person just to make sure I have the offering of everybody please send me form videos. Like I want to make sure you're executing this well, safely, etc. Great ergonomically. But for my local ladies, if I do a workout with them in person, this is where I really see, like, show me what you're doing. And
Yeah.
then the amount of times where I've been like, okay, like show me how you do this one. And I'll look at them and I'll be like, why are you using 20 pounds? I'm sorry, like I love you, but what? Why are you limiting yourself? And a lot of that goes back to that fear.
Yeah.
So something that has helped me personally and that I will tell them to do. And it is basically like you said to a logbook. I used to have paper logbooks. I still have like four of them somewhere.
Oh my
And then
God.
I started using my phone. And I will say before you start your set, pre-log that heavier weight you're challenging yourself and envision that you already did it. Like it's
Mm,
logged. You already did it, so we know you can do it. And then like 99% of the time it gets done.
yeah.
Whether it's me or the client, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I could do that."
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I'm the same way with my clients, with my girls online. I have them send me form videos. I have a couple of my in-person girlies, like anyone who's local to me that wants to train in person. I'm in South Florida. I bring them in and I test them. And it's really cool because, like you said, I had a client and she's probably going to be listening to this, but she was pushing like 25, maybe 30 pounds for squats. We're doing over a plate on each side. Like she is pushing for, and she's doing 10 reps of this. Like we're not at, because my thing is, I don't care about one rep maxes. Like when I say training with intensity, I don't give a shit about a one rep max with shitty form. I'm against that. I'm so against that. I want to see six clean, good reps. Even if that's the heaviest set that you've ever done and you can only get six out, I want to see those six nice, clean, good, and what and the whole 9 yards because that's training with intensity. So I'm so with you on keeping a logbook, and we actually both use the same platform on our phone. Oh, that's my dog. We use the same platform on our phones. It's the fitness app, which we create for our clients, where it literally says how much weight they used last week, how much weight, and then they have the option to put the weight in now. And then I encourage my clients, and this is something that I do myself, is before starting a workout, look at what they did last week. So
Hmm.
you started and you did 15 reps with 25, do do 30. Go up a little
Hmm.
bit. See how many you can do. All right, you can only do 13, that's fine, but like we're moving up. So training intensity is a huge thing. You're not growing because you're not pushing yourself, and you're also not growing because you are not eating properly. And this part trips
Mm.
up a lot of people because there is this idea that tracking food is restricting. And I want to break that mentality right fucking now because tracking macros is freedom. Tracking macros and knowing how you eat and understanding what you're putting in your body and learning about how your body responds to food is freedom. It's not restriction. It's only restriction if you make it restriction. And that applies to whether you're on a meal plan or anything, because I know myself and I know you do this as well. If we have a client that's on a meal plan, the meal plan is foods that they would be eating as is, just maybe healthier options. We just manage how much of the food they're eating. So, anyways, to jump into nutrition mistakes, the first mistake is under eating. You think that you're eating healthy because you're eating less food. Wrong. You think that you're eating healthy because you're eating healthy enough. Wrong. You are probably under eating, and that is causing low energy, poor recovery, and or overeating on the weekends because you give yourself that freedom. Why? Just have all the time freedom by tracking your food and knowing what the hell you're putting in your body to begin with. And tracking macros is not something that you need to do for the rest of your life. Like, I understand we have some moms listening to this. We have some super busy businesswoman who you should 100% be tracking your food. There is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't. But like moms, or like if you have a social life, or if you like to go out with friends, it's like, I understand. Maybe tracking macros isn't something that you want to do for the rest of your life, but you do it for 6 months. You learn how your body responds to foods. You learn how much you actually need to be eating. And then, yeah, you can go on that 2 week trip, on that 3 week trip, and eat intuitively and not lose any progress. And I always bring it back to the example of when I went on a cruise in the middle of my prep. I came back exactly where we wanted me to be. I didn't gain a pound. I even lost some weight because I knew how much I needed to be eating. I knew what my meals needed to include because I learned how to track macros. And I think that this flips so many people upside down because they are like, I'm training, I'm working out, I'm doing the things, but they're not doing what's the most important, and that is consuming enough food. You are under eating. You might be eating once a day, and that might be your biggest meal or whatever. You are severely under eating, my friends, and inconsistent macros or not tracking macros is inconsistent results.
Hmm.
So I want to ask you, what was the biggest nutrition shift that changed your progress? Because I know you mentioned in your last answer that the biggest thing that changed your progress was nutrition. So what was the biggest shift? What did you start doing?
Yeah. So I started really, really slow, which, I think was really key for my success was starting slow because I did have that like all or nothing mindset to
Me
like
too.
I think a lot of us do, but food was always a big point of contention for me. Growing up, I was always overweight. I was raised on like super processed food and I got bullied a lot when I was younger, all like about my body and stuff. So I was very like diligent, like I want to eat healthier, but I also don't really know how to do it. So my small shift was like just adding more fruit, right? Because I was like, fuck
Mm.
vegetables. Um, I think all of us are kind of like that at first. When you first make that shift, I was like, I'll cross that bridge later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it started just kind of eating healthier foods per se, like whole foods. And then I started tracking. And then I fell into the high protein processed place, but I'm like, it fits my macros. Now at least I understand. Like I went from probably getting maybe 40 grams of protein a day to 125, which was a big shift, even
Same. That's
though
crazy. Same.
yeah, I mean, like the sources weren't the best, but it was a step in the right direction. And then eventually, what helped me a lot, I'm no longer affiliated with them, I don't think, but I still have nothing but good things to say with them about them, is I would watch Jen Dory was my favorite IFBB pro at that time. Still love her though. I don't have favorites. I kind of love them all now. But I was like really fixated on her for my inspo for prep, and she used a MegaFit meal ambassador. And so I started buying MegaFit meals. And then I
Mm.
was like, oh, I'm eating like whole foods. And then to save money, I would just mimic those meals. And then eventually I got there and no more processed foods. So that was like my little steps to get there.
Wow, that's awesome. And that is so beneficial for other people. And looking back at my journey, I took baby steps also. It started with just eat a little bit healthier, just cut out the Nutella sandwich that I would make. And then it was, all right, let me have the Core Power protein shakes, one of
Yeah.
those a day. That's 42 grams of protein. That was more protein than I consumed in like a week, okay, in one sitting.
Yeah.
So, I say this because I want anyone who's listening to know that we didn't go from like I was not raised in you need protein, carbs, and fats on your plate. I know damn well that's how I'm raising my kids though, but I wasn't raised that way. I was raised also not as much processed, but I ate a lot of Soviet food. So there was a lot of potatoes, there was a lot of macaronis, there was a lot of, and I didn't eat meat. I was actually like
Oh.
vegan, vegetarian for probably 6 years. I only started eating chicken when I started going to the gym. I only started eating red meat maybe like a couple years ago, and it has to be like well done, like a freaking hockey puck. And not a
Oh.
lot of people know this about me because I was against eating protein because I love animals. So that's a different conversation, but that shifted slowly. I didn't just like say, okay, I need to eat a freaking chicken breast, but I was like, all right, let me start with the protein shakes. Let me start with making sure I have at least a protein shake a day. Let me slowly started getting in some chicken breast and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And slowly but surely, I've built up to now I went from eating 20 maybe grams of protein a day to now I'm eating 150 and I can easily put down more because I love protein. And I still stick with foods that I'm comfortable with. So I don't eat something that I don't like. Like I'm not gonna make a rare piece of steak because I know I'm not gonna enjoy that.
Oh, we gotta
I
get
know
you there.
we are. I'm at like right now I'm at like medium rare. Like I
Oh,
ate it
good.
with age and
Oh,
it was
that's good.
great. It was great. Yeah, but if it's like way too red, like forget about it. Or I have to be in a really dark restaurant. I noticed that. If I'm in a dark restaurant and I can't see how red it is, I'll eat it. But anyways, sorry for the tangent. How to fix your nutrition mistakes is, like Mandy said, you start taking the baby steps in. Let me eat more whole foods. All right, now let me make sure that I have some sort of protein in every single meal. Then you start just track your protein, just see how much protein you're getting in. Then you'll start getting into everything else. Like, we're not expecting you to go 0 to 100, never touched my fitness pal, and now you're hitting all your numbers, but
Oh
baby
no.
steps it. Take those baby steps, start doing those things. And when you eat good during the weekend, during the week, I mean, breaking that cycle of I'm falling apart on the weekends and I just go off and go crazy, like you will start to notice how good you feel when you're eating good, and you're not going to want to do that anymore. You're not going to want to eat like shit because you're going to notice how your body's responding to that.
Ooh, that's a good point. You know what I did? Because dessert girly here for, I mean, yeah,
Big
I
time.
It's so gross to think about now. I would use protein bars as like a dessert because they're all essentially like sugar bombs and whatever.
Yeah.
But then as I started getting like quote unquote eating healthier, I got rid of the processed protein bars, and what helped me would go to cleaner ones. Like I would get the mini perfect bars, and then I would have that every day as like a dessert. So then like, oh, I deserve something. Like I'm gonna go crazy. And that helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still till this day, I eat a piece of chocolate every night because
Yeah.
that helps me feel, I don't feel restricted in any way, shape, or form with the way that I eat. I love the way that I eat. But that for me is like, yeah, I could have chocolate every night if I want to. And
Mhm.
I don't want to completely shit on processed protein stuff because I myself, I have half a buff in a day and I enjoy the hell out of it. I love my half a buff in a day. But then there are times when I'm like, all right, maybe I'm like breaking out a little bit more because my body's not used to like eating the protein powders and this and that. And like I could take a break. But long story short, take those baby steps, start doing something. And just to throw in here, with a bit, and this isn't necessarily nutrition, but a big mistake that's made that ties into this is not hydrating enough and not drinking enough water. You need to be drinking enough water. And whether you just start with getting in one of these bad boys a day, then build it up to getting two of them, then build it up to getting three of them, and stay consistent. The biggest thing that has helped me, and if I was at home, like in my apartment, I would show I have a gallon that I fill up every single night. And all day I walk and I pour it into here because this is just easier for me to carry around. I was the one girl who walked around shamelessly with my gallon like right over here like it's a baby and I held it with no problem. But I've dropped them so many times and like cracked them and spilled them all over the place that I just stopped doing that. I grew up. I matured. So now I have another cup that I carry around. This I refill it with my gallon. That's how I know that I'm drinking enough water. And that helps me make sure that I stay hydrated because the reality is sometimes, yeah, you do get busy, you do get distracted, you forget about it, could forget about meals, whatever. And these are just steps to take. And I love what you said about the Mega Fit meals because I order my chicken from Hummus Fit. I hate cooking chicken. Some things never change with me and certain things. I just don't like touching chicken, raw chicken. I don't like cooking it. I order my grilled chicken from Hummus Fit. There's nothing in it other than grilled chicken and seasoning. I add it into like 3 meals a day, and it's great. And price-wise, it costs just about the same that a thing of chicken would. So that's that about the nutrition. We can do a whole episode just talking about that, and we have spoken a lot more about nutrition. I'm pretty sure we did that on your last podcast where we talked about food and the way that it affects our bodies.
Did we?
I think so. Anyways,
We talked
anyways,
so much.
I know. I love it. I love it. But the next point that I want to hit on that is the invisible progress killer that people don't pay as much attention to and that's holding you back so freaking much from making progress is sleep, stress, and recovery. And I can't stress it enough how important these are because people are blaming their food and their training, but in reality, their nervous system is a fucking mess. If your nervous system is a mess, we were just having this conversation about a client, and when your cortisol is high, when your nervous system is a mess, your body is not processing food that it's supposed to. It's not absorbing the nutrients. It's not processing the food. Hence, slowing down your metabolism. Hence, slowing down how your muscles are building. Hence, fucking everything up. These are things that get overlooked so easily because, oh, how much does sleep really affect my progress? A lot. Because think of it this way. Think of it this way. Let's break it down. You get a really bad night of sleep. You have very low energy. You don't feel good. You're not well rested. You're tired. You're not going to push the weight that you could be pushing in the gym. You're not going to feel good. You're probably not going to be as hungry because your body is just like so exhausted and it's so tired that it doesn't, like, it's not going to digest the food properly. Like, there are just so many things that go into play. And having the high stress and the poor recovery, it could either decrease the hunger or it could increase the hunger to where you're just eating sugar to try to get yourself up. It like less strength, more cravings, worse body composition, just never resting, always on will equal to burnout and plateaus. And I want to ask you, how do stressful seasons even now, even with having all the tools that you have and knowing all the things that you know, how do stressful seasons right now in your life affect your progress and how do you manage them?
Ooh, love that. Also, yes, now I remember the episode because you said nervous system, and I was like, oh yeah, duh, yeah, we did that. I love that you asked that because how I handle that now is way different than how I used to handle it. And that's to say that I used to not handle it. I used to ignore it. I used to just be like, hey, I'll just keep powering through because that's where my nervous system was operating, was like way up here. Now I've found that I give myself a lot more grace. So when I start feeling burned out, I recognize like as much as want to go to the gym, and like that's very much so like in me now. I want to go, I want to push hard. I also recognize that in certain seasons, it's not the time, and you're going to get more benefit and progress by resting or by taking it down a notch. So like key in point, I am pretty much wrapping up like a mold protocol right now. That is not balls to the wall training time. That is not don't deal with your stress time. That is take it down a notch, de-stress, rest is going to be better for progress. So like it's hard, especially as somebody that identifies as like go go go, execute, like get it done, check the boxes. Rest, and I tell my ladies this, rest is part of your protocol if it's warranted. And I think it is warranted for everyone. It just looks different,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And speaking like that ties into the key points that I want to share about how to fix it. And that is by having that stress management, by taking rest days that are actually rest. Like your rest day
Mhm.
is not, okay, I'm going to go play tennis and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to try to burn all these calories because I'm resting. No, babe, you're resting. You're hitting your steps, you're doing some light walking on the walking pad, and you are resting. You are sleeping longer, you're sleeping in, you're getting a little bit extra sleep, you're getting some sunlight, you're walking, you're moving around, but you're not like your body needs the rest. And I feel that no matter how much of an athlete you are, it is ideal to have at least 2 full rest days where you are no gym, nothing stressful. Take that time, cold plunge, sauna, stretch, get a massage, do something like that. And I know that these are things that you have to kind of like go out of your way to do those things. So, very simply, like doing a stretching routine at home and taking 10 minutes to stretch and give your body that downtime is one way that you can immediately help with your recovery. And the second thing, and I see you're about to burst, but I just want to get this out, is by having a routine and very specifically having a routine at night. And when I say having a routine at night, I don't mean you take a shower and then get in front of the TV and watch TV until you fall asleep. No, I'm saying you have a routine where you take your nighttime vitamins, take your magnesium, drink your chamomile lavender tea, get in bed with a book, not with your phone. Like you wind down in order to actually give yourself sleep and don't do this wind down routine 6 hours before you need to get up. Start the wind down routine 9 hours before you need to get up. And if that's not doable for you because you have kids or because work or life circumstances, 8 hours before you need to get up, 7.5 hours before you need to get up. The more rest that you give your body, the better you will feel. And before I pass over the mic, there are some people who will argue and say that I feel fine getting 5 hours of sleep. I feel fine getting 6 hours of sleep. And that was me. I could get 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep and operate and function perfectly fine. Yeah, that I was not perfectly fine. I was like running on empty. A car can have 10 miles left in it and it will still drive.
Mhm.
Let's put it that way. But it's not going to drive the way that it should.
Yeah.
So that is my last little nugget of information on that. I see you wanted to explode. What did you want to add on?
What I wanted to add on was if any of my girls are listening, they know who they are. So for certain clients that have a hard time like turning off or like prioritizing rest, I know that they'll train, right? And like that's part of it is like, hey, we have to bring the intensity down, like still move, but like bring it down. what I've started doing in a loving, manipulative way is I will program in their training. Okay, you did all of your workouts, and then the last exercise you have is Savasana, or it's legs up the wall for 3 minutes, and I put the timer on it, and I'm like, you need to get in the habit of regulating that rest and that like nervous system. So if the only way I can do it is by programming it into your actual workout and making that part of the routine, like that's what I've started doing now.
Yeah, I've programmed
Yeah.
8 hours of sleep for my clients. Like the ones who I know it's doable for them and they know it's doable for them. It's just like a matter of, oh, I'm scrolling on my phone or I'm this or I'm that.
Yeah.
It's like I program the same way that I program you need to get X amount of water in a day, you need to get X amount of sleep in a day.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah. But I love that. That's such a good point of having that as a program because some people have a hard time following through unless they see it on a protocol. So if you are a client or if you are someone who struggles with it and you come to either myself or Mans for support, for coaching, for help, and you struggle with these are things that we will program in for you to help you. And on that note, another reason why people don't see progress in the gym is because their lack of routine and lack of consistency. And this is something that I can create an entire 5 hour video talking about lack of routine and lack of consistency and how that will absolutely destroy anything and everything that you're working towards because that all or nothing mentality, it kills progress. It creates not having a long-term plan. It's always switching up programs. It's skipping workouts randomly because you just don't want to do that workout. It's the gym is busy, so I'm gonna leave the gym. It's no structure, no consistency. It's really as simple as that. And I know that this might sound a little bit rough, but that's really what it is. If you don't have structure, you don't have consistency. If you don't have a routine to follow, what are you following? What are you doing? How do you know your next steps? And playing the guessing game, you can only play the guessing game for so long until it doesn't work. Oh, what am I eating for dinner tonight? It's no, you should know what you're eating for dinner tonight. If it's your husband and you that make those decisions of what are we having for dinner, you make those decisions beforehand so you can make sure that the dinners are good for you, that they're supporting your body, that they are foods that you should be eating. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to train this week. Oh, you better fucking make time. You better look at your calendar and figure out where are your buffer periods because I know women who have kids, multiple jobs, are trying to run their own businesses, so many different types of life situations, if they need to go to the gym at 4 in the morning because that's the only time that they could get in a workout while their kids are sleeping, that's exactly what they do. If they need to go to the gym at night and do workouts without caffeine because no caffeine at night, we know this, it affects your sleep, they do that. Like, if my favorite thing to say is if there is a will, there is a way. And anyone that comes with excuses as to why they can't get it done, I want you to find 3 reasons right now why you could get it done. If you could find 3 reasons why you can't, you could find 3 reasons why you can. And that brings me to how to fix it is by showing up through life seasons, not just when it's convenient, because there will be seasons when you go through a kill phase and it's difficult for you to maybe show up in some ways, or it's more stressful, or you're not as motivated to go to the gym because you can't work out the way that you want to. Or maybe there's a season of life like the holidays, like right now when family comes into town, when there are certain things happening that you need to change your schedule around in order to make things work. But if there is a plan, there is steps to take. And I want to just give a very real and raw example. My in-laws are coming into town next week on Saturday. They're going to be here for a week and a half. We have certain plans for dinners and events and things and birthdays and parties and whatever. And the way that I'm literally right now, 2 weeks in advance, I'm putting in my calendar. All right, we're meeting with them at 1 p.m. and I have a call before that and I have a client before that. Looks like it's a 5 a.m. workout that day. And that's what it's gonna be. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get it done because I know how shitty I'm gonna feel when I don't show up and do the things. And that is not something that I'm willing to experience because it's in my hands, it's in my control, my lack or not lack of consistency. And I choose to not lack consistency because I know what that does to my progress. So I want to open up the floor for you and ask what habits or what is something that you keep consistent no matter what happens in life.
Mm, yeah. My like must must do 3. And this changes a little bit just because I don't train 7 days a week, nor should anyone, in my
Anyone?
opinion. But it will be steps, water, and hitting the gym. At this point, like nutrition, like it's in my it's second nature now. So
Yeah,
I really don't have to worry about that too much. So that kind of like, but that should be considered too. If you're in the progress or in the process of changing your habits, because I do make sure I'm getting protein with every meal. That makes me feel good. Getting my steps, that makes me feel good. My water, that makes me feel good. I love myself. I want to feel good. If I don't feel good, I'm not showing up as my best self for my clients, for my friends, for my partner, for my family. And I love them too. They deserve the best version of me. So for me, it's very easy, or for those people out there, if you're a recovering people pleaser, like think about how you want to show up for the people that you love then.
yeah,
And then eventually also like show up for you because you love yourself. That's the easy ones for me. I'm gonna get my steps. Like today, my schedule is jam-packed. So I'm like, I could have gone to the gym. I could still technically go to the gym, but I know that I'm going to be stressed trying to manage like all the time. So I was like, you know what? This will be my rest day. And I can move it to another day during the week, and that's fine. And then I'm gonna wake up earlier and I'm gonna get my steps. And then I feel good. And
I
then I'm gonna
love
have a
that.
good day.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And I love that you just mentioned about the gym and how you moved it around because you have a busy day and you have stuff going on. And that leads me to the how to fix the lack of consistency and lack of routine. And the first thing is having a routine that fits your life. And I have
Mhm.
come across so many clients and people who are trying to get in 5 days a week of training and this and that, but that just doesn't fit their lives. That is just not what's doable for them. And that's where I come in and I'm like, hey, my style of coaching is not, I'm giving you cookie cutter, I want you training 5 days a week. Like, would training 5 days a week probably like boost your muscle growth or whatever? Sure, if you're training with intensity those 5 days. But if you're training 4 days with that same intensity, but you're less stressed, you're going to see so many more results with that. You're
Oh,
going to feel better. So, my first thing of how to fix is having a split and having a routine that fits your lifestyle. It's figuring out what you could meal plan if you're rushed and have a busy schedule. It's figuring out where you could move your rest days around if needed. I last week I trained, this was not ideal, but I trained 5 days in a row because I knew that Saturday and Sunday I would not get a workout in. And typically I train on Saturdays and not on Wednesdays. But here I just trained 5 days in a row because I didn't want to lose a training day. Same thing could be looked at. You knew that you would feel really rushed today, and that just would add stress that
mhm.
you were already having good stress because you're working. Cool, move it around one day. It's not the end of the world because you are structuring it to fit your life, not to make it more difficult. And that's the thing about a program and working with a coach is you are supposed to have a program that fits your life, that isn't difficult in the sense of how am I going to get this done? It's difficult in the sense of like, oh, this is challenging and like I'm making progress towards my goals. But having that, those 3 to 5 non-negotiable habits every day, like Mandy said, drinking water, hitting steps, nutrition for both of us is just a given. But even when we're out and about and like traveling or have something going on, making sure that we're having protein in every single meal. Like these are, you set non-negotiables for yourself, and no matter what, rain, shine, anything, you hit those non-negotiables. So don't set one where it's like, oh, I'm lifting weights every day because that's not ideal. We're not doing that. We're not training 7 days a week, but set it to things that actually need to get done. And that leads me to my next point of the silent reason why people stay stuck is because of their mindset. And a lot of what happens with mindset related stuff is the comparison to people online. If you are a social media user, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and you are in any way, shape, or form on Gym Talk or see influencers or anything, you are probably falling into the loop of comparison, into the idea that you're not doing enough of something because your favorite shitfluencer is doing other things that, and not shitting on influencers, but there are some that I don't believe should have a platform because of the way that they show their lives, and I get it, they're showcasing their lives, but they are not living healthy lives to be showcasing them. But I digress. Um, Expecting faster results because of what you see online, quitting early because you're not getting to those results, fear of gaining weight when you're in a muscle building phase, or fear of the scale, which we did a whole entire podcast where we talked about that. Not believing that you're capable of more, which whether it's lifting more weight or no, I can't track macros because that's just difficult. Like not believing that you're capable of more. Like these are mindset things that are holding you back. And one of the biggest ones is thinking that you need to do it alone and not asking for help. Because the reality is there was a time and place when I was so new to this that I had no idea what tracking macros was. Like, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything about training intensity or different training styles. I didn't know that a woman doesn't need to work out chest in order to have defined upper body. Like, what you don't know, you don't know. And that's where resources come in, like coaches, like doing your research and truly knowing that there are people that are there to help you and that will help you, will meet you where you are and help you get to where you want to go is a huge shift in the progress that you make. And I know that you said in the beginning that you made a lot of progress when you started working with a coach, and I'm the same exact way. When I started working with a coach, I made the most amount of progress, and when I started working with a new coach, it only went up. And then when I on top of all of that, made sure to coach myself as well, like as a coach, just like always have that coach in me towards me, not just my clients, that quadrupled any of the progress that I was making. So I just want to open up the floor to see any sense that you have to add in on there.
Yeah, it's the mindset shift is so huge. And I think what helped me, aside from like dialing in nutrition and being honest with myself about that, like, and dialing in like pushing intensity in the gym, because that was another area I fell short with initially as well. What really helped was taking a step back and assessing where I was being negatively impacted with my mindset, and that did include social media, which is a little hard because also like our job is partially social media. So it's kind of hard to like avoid not being on social media when your job needs you to be on social media. And a big component for me with that was just I'd see these influencers. I'd even see some of the IFBB pros, which, like I know we both look up to them because that's like, hey, one day, like that's what I want to be, like that's what I want to do. But I also realized like that might not be the season for me to be consuming certain things because
Mm,
it would stress me out. Like, yeah, of course I don't look stage ready because I'm not stage ready. That's not the season I'm in. And I would get like really stressed about it, and my body would respond that way.
mm,
So it's not that I unfollowed these people because I still want to follow them. I still value like the content that they're putting out. It just wasn't the right season for me to be consuming it the amount that I was. So I just sort of there are some people I muted because I'm like I need to see their stuff later. And then I would just also stop scrolling. And the second that I shifted that mindset to like this can be for a later date, my stress came down and then my body responds. So
mm.
like just knowing that you have a lot of power in shifting your mindset and your stress to cause your body to react in a positive way is really big.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
I dropped the bomb with that. That was really good. Like being able to understand and do that self evaluation essentially of
Mhm.
where am I messing things up? Like whether it's, that mindset, or maybe it's your relationship with food, or maybe it's your relationship with the recent idea of going to the gym is going to make me bulky, or
Mhm.
I have to do Pilates in order to look the way that I want to look, or whatever the case is. It's like the mindset shifts that come with making these kind of transformations. It's like you're going to have some hard conversations with yourself. You're gonna have to realize that you not having a strategy, you not having accountability, you following random workouts, you consuming content that doesn't relate to you and doesn't help you in the season that you're in is not helpful to you. And maybe one day you'll feel fine consuming it and like or seeing it
Mhm.
and it's not going to affect you because I can relate to that. Like I'm not stage lean, so when I see like competitions and shows I get the itch, but then I'm like no, 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 we're nowhere near getting the itch. Like we just got to chill out right now and that's like what we're doing. Like we're working, we're growing, we're building. But I can totally relate to everything that you said and I want to jump into fixing the mindset that keeps people stuck. And that is shifting from an outcome-based mindset to a process-based mindset. So if I have a client that comes to me and says, I want to lose 10 pounds in a month, I say, all right, your goal is to lose weight. I hear you. I don't want you to think about that goal. I want you to think about the steps that we need to take in order to get to that goal. And not just think about those steps, but do the steps. Track those macros, hit the steps, start doing things in order to get there. Because when we focus on the outcome of like the goal is to one day be an IFBB pro, and we think about how we're not there yet, it does get like in your head of like, will I ever get there? What if I'm too late? What if I'm not there? Like, why am I not there yet? Am I behind? Like, you get in your head. So, focusing on the process rather than the outcome is going to give you so much more clarity of the steps that you need to take. And as you take the steps, you will see yourself getting there. Like you will see yourself getting there. And that ties into also being able to trust the boring work and do the boring work. Because when you think that every single week you need new fancy workouts, you need new Pinterest 15 recipe meals in order to enjoy your food. Like, oh, brother, just do the boring work. Eat the same meals every day. Have that repetition. I don't care if it's boring. I don't care if isn't it more boring to not get the results? Isn't it more frustrating to be stuck in where you're at than to eat the same meal every day? Like, what, isn't that more boring to like hate the way that you feel about yourself because you're not getting to where you want to go? And with that being said, like being consistent with the boring things, like not flawless, but being consistent and checking off the boxes and doing the damn things. And at the end of the day, if you are stuck or if you feel like you need an extra push, like hire a freaking coach. Whether it's Mandy, whether it's myself, whether it's someone else, having that real direction, having someone on your ass, someone to hold you accountable. There's a reason why coaches have coaches, and those coaches have coaches, and those coaches have coaches too. Like there is a top at the end, but I have a coach. Mandy has a coach. My coach has a coach. I'm sure that Mandy's coach has a coach. Like there is, or someone who guides him or helps him or mentors him. There is always someone who knows more than you and who can guide you. And when you are in it yourself, there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of feelings, and it's a lot much harder to see the bigger picture and to take the steps in order to get there. So to close this out, I want to just remind everyone that it is not, you're not failing because you're not capable of the thing. You're failing because you don't have a plan that's getting you to your true capabilities and to your true potential. And that progress is not magic. It is a formula. It is literally science-based. And I'm sure Mandy loves the science-based portion of it,
I
but
do.
it really is. It's the training, it's the food, it's everything that ties into one another that gets you to where you want to go. And if you're training, nutrition, recovery, mindset, consistency, all of these things are not aligned, your results are going to reflect that.
Mm. Hmm.
Your results are going to reflect that. So I want to ask you, Mans, if there is one thing that you could tell yourself 5 years ago or 10 years ago when you were getting frustrated because you weren't making the progress that you want to be making, what would you tell yourself?
This is a good one because I know that you just mentioned not focusing on the outcome and focusing on the process. But I think what I would have told myself before is keep that end goal, that overall goal in mind. Because back when I first started, I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to do bodybuilding. And that's like where it kind of stopped because I was like, I don't believe that I'm capable of winning a show at that point. Now I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna fucking happen. But at that point, I was like, I think having that big idea and being like, okay, so what do those people do? And then to what you said, to credit what you said, it's that boring stuff. It's that gym lifestyle. It's that like, hey, I'm gonna bring a gym bag and I'm gonna put it in my car, and that way I don't have to stop at home and risk that excuse conversation. Like, I'm tired, I should just sit down for a minute. Oh, I don't want to go now, there's traffic. Like, I would tell myself to focus on that end goal, but then also realize the little things, the every single day little things are what's going to get you there fastest.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And what you said of focus on the end goal, I agree. Keep the end goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that we get there is those little things. It is
100%.
those process
Yeah.
steps. Like you can see the end of the road and you want to get there, but you won't just teleport there. Like you need to walk there. Or you
Yeah.
need
I
to,
guess the better way to say it would be like keep the visualization in mind, right?
yeah,
Because it's like a part of
yeah,
the manifesting it is like seeing it in your brain.
yeah.
And I
Keep it in
think
mind.
like back then I couldn't like I think I was too scared to see it. I was like, I was like, I just want to get skinnier.
Yeah,
And then I was like, but wait, where the heck's my butt? What the heck? And then I was
yeah.
like, well, now I want to get juicier.
Yeah, I mean, there's also different phases that you go through, but the overarching thing here is that having that plan in place, having the steps in order to get to your goals is what's going to get you to your goals and like following through with those. So there's everyone is capable of making real progress in the gym. You're only stuck because there's things about your habits, your routine, and your life that are keeping you stuck. And you are also the one that's capable of getting yourself unstuck. So that's
With
where I want,
Sasha's coaching help.
and Mandy's. We're both we both do this. If there's anything that we said that, any of the fixes or anything that you feel touched upon maybe something that you're struggling with and you want to bounce off some ideas or you need some help or you want to talk to either one of us about coaching or how we do coaching, what we offer, anything along those lines, we are here. Our DMs are open. I'm going to drop both of our Instagrams in the show notes as well as on Mandy's Instagram. She also has her link tree with all of her podcasts and all of her information, her functional health information, everything. And I have the same in my link tree with my stuff. So I'm going to drop those in the show notes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We would love to hear any thoughts that you have for the podcast. If you're listening to Spotify, please give us a rating. Those help a lot. They help the podcast grow. They help us to keep doing this. And I will see you all back very soon for another Sculpt Session Sunday. Thank you so much, Mandy, for joining in. Love you so much.
Love you. Thank you.
Tuning in, and we will talk to you very soon. Bye.